Welcome to the Explainer. Today we are taking a massive 5,000-year timeline of dense, incredibly epic mythological history and compressing it down into one fast-paced journey. We're going to trace the rise and the spectacular fall of gods, empires, and entire civilizations across the lands between. Let's jump right in. The fallen leaves tell a story of a great ring shattered, right? It's a chilling thought, and it honestly defines the entire lore. Everything we're about to discuss today builds up to and flows directly out from this one absolute catastrophe. But, to really understand the shattering, we got to go back to the very beginning. So here is our roadmap. We're navigating four distinct eras. The primordial age of Titans, 5,000 years ago, the reign of dragons, 3,000 years ago, forging the Golden Order 1,000 years ago, and finally, the present era, the Shattering. Part 1. The Prehistoric Giants in the Age of Titans. Okay, so long before those giant golden trees dominated the skyline, life in the lands between was basically just raw natural selection. The Titans were building these elaborate megalithic structures without any mortar. I mean, we're talking stones so massive that literally only a Titan could budge them. And to enforce order in a land that was just fraught with constant conflict, they actually wove the fabric of life itself into black stone, creating these utterly terrifying weaponized golems. But as you can probably guess, their colossal reign came to a sudden, violently molten end. A massive meteorite impact struck the lands between, expelling molten rock across the entire continent. And ironically, the Titans' massive size, that was their downfall. Literally, the only creatures that managed to survive were ones small enough to burrow underground or ones capable of flying way up high above the devastation. Which brings us to part 2, Storm and Stone, the Ancient Dragons. So, from the ashes of the Titans, this totally eternal, skybound civilization takes flight. Meet Dragonlord Placidusax. This guy proves that the whole concept of an Elden Lord existed way before the Golden Era we all know. Ruling from the perpetually storm-shrouded floating city of Farum Azula, Placidusax and his ancient dragons served as the eternal guardians of the world's natural cycles. And the contrast here is just wild. Look at these ancient beings versus the dragons that follow them. The ancient dragons were literally walls of living rock, completely immortal, wielding red lightning, just unstoppable. But their modern descendants kind of stepped down from that true immortality. Sure, they gained fleshy bodies and elemental breath, but by doing that, they became entirely vulnerable to death. Now, these ancient dragons didn't rule with an iron fist. Actually, they were pretty passive guardians. They even elevated their subservient beastmen to help build a complex society by literally gifting them intelligence. And as a really fascinating result of this, beastmen architecture heavily features a 5-fingered motif. It's a direct symbol of that profound intelligence they were granted. Part 3. Gold and Order, Forging the Golden Order. Well, that era of passive observation, it eventually ended with the arrival of a cosmic entity that was fully intent on reshaping reality itself, the Greater Will. This outer god chose Queen Marika to be its divine vessel and sent a golden star bearing the Elden beast crashing into the lands between. And that beast, it became the Elden Ring, an actual metaphysical structure that literally dictates the physical and magical laws of the entire world. To establish this brand new reality, Marika enlisted her first Elden Lord, the legendary warrior Godfrey. Together, they went on this completely ruthless golden crusade. I mean, they decimated rival factions, they utterly crushed the fire giants, and they planted the colossal Erdtree, establishing Leyndell as their capital. Basically, through sheer bloodshed, the Golden Order was formalized as the one true religion. But here's the thing, Marika's loyalty was pretty fleeting. She actually took 2 lords during her reign. See, once Godfrey ran out of worthy enemies, his grace faded, making him the very first Tarnished. So Marika just ruthlessly exiles him and his warriors. Then she brings in Lord number 2, the red-haired Radagon, to completely cement her absolute power and usher in the absolute peak of the Golden Order's dominance. So how do you make an empire completely absolute? Simple. You hack the laws of reality. Marika actually removed the Rune of Death from the Elden Ring itself, which meant true death just didn't exist anymore. Instead of dying, souls were simply returned to the Erdtree. It was a completely manufactured eternity, perfectly designed to keep her empire in power forever. Part 4, Shadow and Death and the Night of the Black Knives. Now, an eternity without death is totally unnatural, right? It was really only a matter of time before someone broke the system. Lunar Princess Ranni absolutely despised being controlled by the Greater Will, so she orchestrated this incredible, reality-breaking cosmic heist. Step 1, steal a fragment of the Rune of Death. Step 2, imbue the elite assassin's daggers with that power. And Step 3, slay Godwin the Golden Order's most beloved demigod. This part is just mind-bending. Because Ranni and Godwin died at the exact same time, the ritual actually split death in half. Her Empyrean flesh died, but her spirit lived on, which freed her soul. But for Godwin, his soul perished, but his immortal body remained alive. So Ranni got exactly what she wanted. Godwin, on the other hand, suffered a fate way, way worse than death. Godwin's soulless, twisted corpse was buried at the Erdtree's roots, where it mutated into the Prince of Death, and it just started corrupting the entire root system, creating this infectious, world-corrupting death root. It birthed those who live in death, basically this cancerous anomaly spreading right across the realm. Undead beings that fundamentally and permanently broke the Golden Order's pristine cycle of rebirth. Part 5. Apocalyptic Collapse, better known as the Shattering. The murder of her golden child was the final catalyst. It pushed the architect of the empire right over the edge. Driven to the absolute brink by grief, or, maybe it was a defiant rebellion against the greater will, Queen Marika committed the ultimate heresy. She took her hammer and she shattered the Elden Ring itself, literally breaking the physical and political laws of the world overnight. And the resulting power vacuum? It triggered a full-on apocalypse. In year 0, the ring is shattered. Months later, Marika's demigod children claim the fragmented great runes. But the mad taint of that newfound power causes endless war to erupt years later, a conflict so devastating it ends in a total stalemate. So, locked in this endless ruin, centuries later, the Greater Will reaches out to the very warriors Marika had exiled. The Tarnished return. Which brings us right to the present. The 5,000-year history has been written, but the lands between awaits a new Elden Lord. What will your age look like? Will you restore the Golden Order? Usher in the Age of Stars? Or just burn the whole shebang down with the frenzied flame? We'll leave you with that, because the next age is entirely up to you.